Hey, Charles.
Hey, Pete.
Hey, I got some interesting data here that I want to break apart. This is some data that was taken with a SCADIS in a vehicle, and it also recorded GPS, so we can just click either the longitude or latitude here in Neo, and I can see where the person drove. Kind of nice, this Google Earth display. I can look at it in terms of a map or in terms of a satellite. Have you ever used this before?
No, is it hard to get?
It's not hard to get. It's a free add on because of some export restrictions in certain countries. You do have to ask your salesman or support engineer, but they should be able to set you up with a no cost license to use it.
I like the price.
Yeah. Anyway, we also can look at things like our speed, which came from the GPS, and I could look at some data, for example. And let's see if I add a coupled cursor. It'll actually scroll through the data. If I click on the red here, I can actually see where this person was driving. So it looks like they're going around in a loop.
Yeah,
Oh, I think they came to a stop sign. What did they do at the stop sign there, Charles?
that's what we call a rolling stop, it looks like. Looking
A
at the
rolling
speed, then you go to
stop.
zero.
And they drove around some more. Oh, maybe another stop sign. Drove around some more. So it looks like they're going in loops. It does look like they actually got to a full stop at least once there, Charles.
Good.
Yeah. But anyway, I might want to break this apart. They went around several times. Maybe I want to take it one lap at a time. And there's this thing called split by position that I can use to break it apart based on GPS coordinates. This split by position method, Charles, if you go to File, Add-ins, and you turn on Trackside Validation, and then in your method library, you'll get this split by position. You just put it up here. And the split by position, it likes to have a KML file, keyhole markup language. Keyhole was a company that did a lot of satellite stuff. Google bought it eventually. So if you create some keyhole markup language triggers, you can actually use that to break this data apart. Want to see how you do it?
Yeah, it sounds like that could be very useful.
Yeah. So I'll right click on the throughput file, and there's an export here, and I can choose KML as an export file format. I'm going to put it in a directory here, and that's going to put this path that we just saw into a KML file. And now I can go to Google Earth. Do you ever use Google Earth, Charles?
I've used the application before.
Yeah. Well, this is actually just the web version. You can either download the application or go on the web. And here on this version, I can go under File and I can say, let's load that KML file in. So I just grab where I stored it. And then I can see on Google Earth on the web where I was driving. Which, by the way, if you don't have that Google Earth plugin for Neo, maybe this is a good way to see where you were driving. Make sense so far?
Yeah,
All right. And there's this thing here in the Google Earth called Add Polygon or Path. And I can come down here and say, hey, I want to make a trigger point here. And what I'm thinking, Charles, is every time a person drives past this, they drove around a few times, that we want to trigger so we can separate lap by lap. Does that sound like fun?
yeah.
Okay. When you store this, you give it a certain name so that when you use it in Neo, it knows what to do. I want to call the run name that will result from using that trigger lap. The star here means that anytime that trigger is crossed, it'll trigger, and I'm going to give that trigger a numerical value of 1. You can use 1 through whatever number you want to assign a
Uh-huh.
trigger. So 2 colons in the name, the run name, like a initial kind of trigger, and the number that you give to this trigger. Pretty easy, huh?
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Now, this is a key step. I'm going to delete this track and I'm going to delete the GPS points so that I just have the trigger showing here, because the way Google Earth on the web works anyway, if I say file, export as KML, now I'm going to create this trigger file, which it put in my downloads. It's going to have just the trigger in it. Make sense so far?
Yep.
All right, so back here, I can go in and say, hey, let's grab that file that I just made. Hit close here. So it's got the trigger. I'm going to put the data in the input basket, and then I'm going to run it. And now, hopefully, it's parsing lap by lap. And I'm not quite sure how many laps there were. Looks like there was at least 3 laps that it found, so it numbered them. And I can come in and look at any one of these laps. If I highlight this, notice the latitude and longitude has the number 2 here. It means it found 2 pieces of data with GPS. I think here, Charles, there's a little trick if you're viewing this. You see, I highlighted the whole run, but if I look in this run, the process is what was extracted by the process, the split by position. The throughput is the original data. So this original data has everything, but if I click on process here, this is just a single run. Okay.
Okay.
In fact, like if you look at this run, and there's this little side cul-de-sac here on the first lap. They didn't go through that side cul-de-sac, but if I go into the second run, well, look, see the second run they went through that cul-de-sac. If I wanted to compare all 3 of these things that I extracted, I could say put this in the input basket, add this one to the input basket, add this to the input basket, and then if I highlight input basket and I click on the 3, I got all 3 here. Now I can see if I zoom in, there's a red, blue, and green curve. You see that, Charles?
Wow, they color code them for you.
Yeah, so you can tell the runs. So the green run, I guess the second lap, went through that extra cul-de-sac. Looks like this went pretty well. Hope that car wasn't actually on the road.
Yeah.
Okay. Make sense so far?
Makes sense, Pete. I'm wondering, does it just split the GPS data, or does it also split the dynamic data as well?
Yeah, it splits the whole thing. So I got the speed channels here. So here's the speed on each of those laps, and now I can see where they were doing a full stop on the last lap, for example. And then the dynamic data, for example. It split everything up for me, Charles, to make it easy to process as 3 separate runs. You know, if I wanted to then do an average spectrum on each lap, all I'd have to do is add this, and then I would get spectrums in each one of my runs when I processed the data.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Well, Pete, I got a split. See you later.
Split. Oh, okay. See you later, Charles.